I'm Eric Novak. You know, they say it's true, with all the makes and models of cars out there, there probably is the exact right model for everybody. Well, let's put that to the test. Let's say you're someone, hypothetically, who's in midlife. You want more out of your car, and you maybe want a sports car. You want something with luxury and performance and prestige. Now, at the same time, you still got family considerations. You need cargo space. You need functionality. And let's throw into the mix, on top of that, you want to do the right thing for the planet, and you want to have a more sustainable option. Well, if you put all those factors into the mix and consider what's the right one, well, coming up on this review, I think I've got something you want to look at. This here is the 2018 Porsche eHybrid Sport Turismo. What does all that mean? Well, it's a new iteration of the second generation Porsche Panamera, and basically in Europe they call it an estate vehicle. In North America we tend to call them wagons. I don't hear Porsche calling this a Porsche Panamera wagon, but basically you have an elongated, heightened roof line which stretches out, gives more practicality, more functionality inside as well. Now it also has the badge eHybrid. What does that mean? Well, it's a plug-in hybrid. In fact, Porsche is one of the only manufacturers that has 3 distinct different models with plug-in hybrids, and now with this Turismo they have different variations of the same model. They have the Cayenne, the Panamera, and the 918 Spider. And it is a plug-in hybrid, and with distinctive badging on it as well. You see the eHybrid logo with the outlining of the acid green distinctive color that Porsche uses. It's also very visible on the front and the rear brake calipers, the acid green. It's an absolute distinctive difference, but it's certainly, it's a look and design that you know is a Porsche, but at the same time you know it's totally completely different. It's on the outside, and there's a couple of interesting unique features on the inside as well. The most notable new feature here in the Turismo is that it actually has 3 seat belts. It is a 4+1 configuration, as they have called it, which actually gives up to 5 people a chance to enjoy driving inside a Porsche. Now, it is a 4+1 because while the 2 seats on the side are traditional, this middle seat really is kind of it's a seat if necessary, but not necessarily a seat, because to sit in it, you actually have to straddle over top of the drivetrain, and it's higher up, and actually it's not too bad, mostly because of the fact of the very high roofline, which is meant for comfort, but it's not something you'd want to sit in for any long periods of time. It's obviously not contoured for sitting in. It's good for a small child perhaps, but it definitely is unique to knowing that you actually have 3 seat belts in the back seat. Inside the Panamera, you have no real difference between the Turismo and the regular Panamera, but there are some differences in controls between the eHybrid and the regular gas combustion engine variant. Overall, though, there's a lot of things going on here in both the cockpit and the center stack. Some distinctive differences from the first generation Panamera. Most notably here in the center stack, all the touch controls have the real tactile buttons have disappeared, and what you now have is basically a sort of a gloss black, which maybe looks sleek, but I'll tell you one problem is don't be eating food or just anything. Anytime you touch it, you get your fingerprints all over, and they show because of the gloss. So, not my favorite aspect of it, because you're going to be wiping it if you're someone who likes to keep the dash clean. But there's a lot of information here, and a lot of it is found on the 12-inch center screen here. It's got your nav system, but there's also where you'll find the Sport Chrono package controls. If you go into there, you'll just have to the car features, and just like in the regular Panamera, there are different drive modes. You can put it into normal, you can put it into Sport, Sport Plus. If you put it into Sport Plus, with here, the one that I have, you have a great Sport exhaust system here, and you can control the chassis height and the way it functions. But when you get into a hybrid, or the plug-in hybrid that we have here, you also have additional controls to figure it. You can have it in e-power, which is just basically powering on its own. And every time you stop on this eHybrid, it always begins in electric mode, but you do have the ability to control that. You can have it in hybrid auto mode, which is where you'll get the computer giving the perfect combination of power from the engine and from the battery. In fact, the maximum horsepower output there's 462 total combined horsepower, and you will get that through the hybrid auto mode. That's where you will get the greatest response. You can actually have, there's e-hold as well if you want to have a charge in the battery, but you want to save it for later, for another time. Say you don't want to use it on the highway, you want to save it for when you're stop and go traffic. And there's also e-charge, which, as you hear, it kicks in. The e-charge ability basically has the kinetic energy from the engine running a bit higher. It's going into charging up the battery while you're driving. I've had a couple of situations already where I've been able to say drive maybe 50 kilometers or so, and in that time, mostly highway driving, I've gotten back 17 to 20 kilometers of EV charge. So I mean, if the full battery pack here is capable of carrying over 50 kilometers of EV drive only on battery before going to hybrid, it's about 32 miles. I've experienced you almost have to go maybe 2 for 1 with respect to getting the charge back through driving in e-charge mode. But you stick it in e-power and you're driving, or Sport Plus, it's all there. There's lots of other features on here. You've got your climate controls. Now, there's one thing I don't like with the climate control. You've got to get into the system for the center vent to turn it on. It doesn't automatically. You have to adjust it. And I'd like to see something a little more simplistic and easy to use. But there's plenty of assistive features. You configure all your safety technologies, information about your charge, your stereo controls. This particular Panamera has a really nice Bose sound system, great surround sound features. It sounds really good, and it should. I mean, you're paying a lot of money for a vehicle. You're not going to have a cheap stereo system, but a lot of information here. In the driver cockpit area, the typical standard 5 gauges, the tachometers in the middle, but you've got a host of other information on the sides, responsive to both performance and also the hybrid features of it. You toggle through in a lot of these switches, and there's some really interesting information. One of the neat features here you get your G-forces, but one thing I really like is they have this standard night view assist. So in the right third of your cockpit, you actually get sort of a night vision enhanced sort of imagery in case you're in dark areas on roads looking for pets and stuff. It's really kind of a cool feature, kind of high tech here, but there's just a lot of stuff going on here. Your wheel controls are pretty solid. Overall, it's busy, it's glossy, which is not great, but this is so typical of what you'd see inside a Porsche. While the look and design of the Panamera Sport Turismo may be unlike anything else the company offers, the good news is that once you get behind the wheel, there's no mistaking that this is indeed a Porsche. The twin-turbo V6 combined with the electric motor powered by a 14 kilowatt-hour lithium-ion battery pack produces a combined output of 462 net horsepower and 515 pound-feet of torque. That's powerful enough to get you from 0 to 60 miles an hour in just 4.4 seconds. An 8-speed PDK automatic transmission is standard and does a remarkable job at transitioning from full battery electric to hybrid electric to full-on gas based on driving situations. While most full electric vehicles operate with a single gear, the PDK transmission demonstrated that electrics can work with multiple gears and provide a more traditional driving experience. My tester came with upgraded 21-inch 911 turbo design wheels, and the 275s up front paired with the massive 315s on the back were a joy to drive on. Match these tires with a 3-chamber air suspension with minimum body movement and steering that's both true and responsive, and you have an overall driving experience that is unmistakably a Porsche driving experience. Now, in addition to great offline torque, another obvious benefit of driving a plug-in hybrid is significantly improved fuel consumption. The Panamera Sport Turismo eHybrid has the posted ability to drive about 50 kilometers, just over 30 miles, on EV alone. True results will always depend on a variety of factors, such as climate, driving style, topography, and more, but the ability to drive on battery alone for periods of time allows for significant improvements in fuel consumption. Fuel economy ratings for PHEVs are measured differently than regular gas vehicles. The Panamera Sport eHybrid has a combined fuel rating of 5.1 liters E per 100 kilometers, or 46 US mpg E. Now this can be a bit difficult to understand, but essentially this rating measures the distance a vehicle can travel using a quantity of fuel, or actually electricity, with the same energy content as 1 liter or gallon of gasoline. No matter how you try to measure it though, this eHybrid Porsche is just as fun as the regular version, but way more fuel efficient. I've always enjoyed watching the evolution of Porsche from its origins as being an automaker that designs high-powered performance luxury vehicles to one that has a more expansive offering of vehicles designed to appeal to a wider group of customers. You know, they brought in their SUVs with the Cayenne and the Macan, and there was some controversy, and there certainly was controversy with the first generation four-door Panamera, mostly because some of its peculiar design features, which have been certainly improved upon with the second generation Panamera. But now you add a Turismo, you add a wagon or estate, and again you add more practicality to the performance aspect of a Porsche. I've always also enjoyed the fact that Porsche has embraced electrification the way it has, with a wide variety of plug-in hybrid variants and a new full electric Taycan coming very soon. They've shown that electrification and performance are perfectly synergistic, and they go well together, and you don't have to sacrifice one for the other. Of course, the one hiccup though is it is a high performance and luxury vehicle with a high price tag. In Canada, just getting into this version of the Turismo Sport eHybrid, you're talking 113,000 just to get in, but this particular unit of mine with a few extra bells and whistles is ringing at $150,000 Canadian. So that's a pretty high rent district, and it's an aspirational vehicle, but it certainly overall was a fun vehicle and one that I really, really enjoyed having time to spend a week with. But that's it for now. I hope you enjoyed this review. I'm Eric Novak. Thanks for watching. There's plenty of ways for you to keep connected with me, so check out some of my social media links, suggested videos, and I'd really love it if you subscribe to my YouTube channel.